Cloud computing has revolutionized the way we use and manage software and infrastructure. Now, there are three different models. Number one is a SaaS model. Now, SaaS stands for Software as a Service. So in a SaaS model, you consume the software. So you just go and purchase the software subscription. It's almost like a subscription-based model to where you just rent the software, and the third party, they take care of the security, they take care of the updates and everything. There used to be a time when you could go to Adobe and buy, say, Photoshop, Dreamweaver, all of the Adobe products. You could buy those and just keep them for yourself. You wouldn't have to worry about paying a subscription every month. You'd take a one-time hit and that would be it. Adobe moved to the SaaS model, and a lot of people were upset about that because they just want to buy it and be done with it. But eventually people just, chilled out about it, and they had no other way. Adobe was such a good product that they had the market corner in that department so that they could make a move like that and not risk losing everybody. They eventually knew that it was going to pay off for them, which it probably has. So Adobe moved to the SaaS model. So what you do in the SaaS model with Adobe is that you pay them monthly to get whatever services you want from them. You don't have to worry about updating. You don't have to worry about, the security of the system. You just use it. You're a consumer. So SaaS is like the creme de la creme. It's the top level service model in cloud computing because you don't worry about any of the applications, the data, the runtime, the middleware, virtualization, the underlying servers. You don't worry about any of that. Is you log in and you use the application. Now the next model is called IAAS, or Infrastructure as a Service. This is the second cloud computing model. And basically what you do here is you use the virtual machines, storage, networking, resources, all of these things you are responsible for. You're not worried about the virtualization. You're not worried about the servers per se, the virtualization servers like the ESXi servers underneath or anything of that nature. You're not worried about the storage or the networking. What you do is you start at the OS layer. So essentially you have a system, let's say like Windows Server, and you install everything on top of that, but they host a server for you. Some customers who like to have more autonomy, they want to build their own applications, they want to have more control over things. This is probably the most control you have. Next to on-site, you move into IaaS. So a lot of companies, they move directly from on-site to IaaS, and from there they can manage a lot of things. They can have, old versions of stuff. They can not update or choose to update different programs. They really can make it their own. IaaS is one of the models that a lot of corporations, a lot of companies use because they already have a staff that manages the on-site, and they just want to put things in the cloud, maybe piecemeal, just one at a time. Let's put this environment over there and keep moving on and see how we like that, and then go from there. The last model is called PAAS, or Platform as a Service. Now, Platform as a Service is maybe what a lot of developers use to deploy, test applications, any applications over the internet. Essentially, you don't have to worry about the middleware, the OS, or none of that. Essentially, what you get there is you just have all the tools just laying there for you. You just walk in and you just start creating, which is a good spot for a lot of developers, people who just know what they want to build. PAAS is really a quick way to not worry about all the other infrastructure. If you don't have that type of team to deal with that, then you just go in there and you can create stuff. Now, some examples of a SaaS service, like I mentioned, Adobe's a SaaS service, ADP, DocuSign, GitHub, Microsoft 365, Atlassian, like Jira and Confluence, Wix, Workday. These are all examples of a SaaS solution or a SaaS cloud computing environment. A lot of people use SaaS every day and think nothing of it. So, you might use Dropbox every day, and that's a SaaS solution. So you're most likely everybody that is online doing some type of work is using SaaS solutions. Now with IAAS, or infrastructure as a service, that's where you get into like Alibaba Cloud. A lot of bigger companies are starting to create these cloud services. You have Azure. Azure has their own IAAS, AWS, GCP, OCI, IBM Cloud. All of these are companies that provide infrastructure as a service. If you're working in a corporate environment, then you're going to see this a lot, where many corporations will use multiple IaaS services. They will use GCP, OCI, Alibaba, Azure, the old school, AWS has been around for a very long time. So you will see these, and people will use these service models to, create their own environments, create their own infrastructure. Like I said, this will be the leap from on-site to putting your stuff in the cloud. That will be the first step. And some examples of the last model, PAAS model, are like AWS Lambda, Google App Engine, Oracle Cloud Platform. All these are platforms where a developer could come in, typically deploy applications to the internet. They could test, they have a development environment, databases, application servers, and other tools necessary to make these apps. And then the PAAS providers take care of maintaining and updating that platform. So they don't have to worry about updating the servers, anything like that. They just jump right in and start writing code or whatever they need to do to make their applications run. So that, in a nutshell, is really what these cloud computing models are about. If you want an easy way to remember these 3 different cloud service models, you can use the acronym SIP. S for SaaS, I for infrastructure as a service, and P for platform as a service. Just imagine like a cloud with a straw in its mouth.